What's up, bodybuilding.com team? Master Coach Zach Long here today to talk to you about what's probably not anybody's favorite topic to discuss, and that is mobility. Most of us would much rather move heavy weights, sweat, and work hard than actually work on our mobility, but it's important to understand that if we don't have good mobility, our ability to get into optimal positions for the lifts that we care about, whether that's to push maximal strength or place maximal load on a certain muscle group in our bodybuilding training, will be limited. So we need to be able to get into good positions, and that is what mobility is all about. So we're gonna go through 3 tests of the 3 areas that I feel like are most commonly limited that are leading to difficulty with your performance. So we're gonna start looking at the ankle. So I'm gonna pop my shoe off. I'm gonna get down in the bottom of a lunge, and I'm gonna position my hand against a wall so that I can get my big toe exactly 1 hand width away from the wall. Heel's gonna stay flat. I wanna see if I can push my hips forward and touch my knee to the wall. If you can do that, you have great ankle mobility. You don't need to worry about your ankles. If you can't do that, we're gonna go down to 3 fingers. So I'm gonna move in a little closer, and we're gonna retest at 3 fingers. If you can hit it at 3 fingers, your ankle mobility is good. If you still can't touch the wall with that test from 3 finger widths out, then working on your ankle mobility is gonna be pretty important for you. The reason for that is when we're doing movements like squats, if somebody has limited ankle mobility and they can't really push their knees forward and sit their hips back, they have to solely sit their hips back in the squat, what we're gonna see is that their squat becomes a little bit more posterior chain dominant. You won't be able to load your quads up as much if you care about squats from a quad strength perspective and quad hypertrophy perspective. If you're lifting more for performance and you're like an Olympic lifter and you're trying to snatch an overhead squat maximal weight, if you can't push your knees forward, it pushes you into this forward torso position, which isn't as strong and stable of a position to stabilize load in as it is if you can really drive those knees forward. So start by looking at your ankle mobility. The second thing we're going to look at is our upper back mobility, the thoracic spine. When thoracic spine mobility is limited and we're stuck a little bit forward and a little rounded, then our overhead lifts are gonna suffer because we can't fully get in an overhead locked out position quite as well. It also puts a little bit more stress on the neck, a little bit more stress on the lower back. So let's test the thoracic spine out next. I'm gonna get to where I'm sitting, butt on my heels, thighs up against the wall. The arm that's towards the wall goes right in between my 2 knees. The other hand comes behind my lower back. And I'm gonna see if I can twist and rotate my spine up. And what I'm looking for is my collarbone, looking at how far up that can rotate. Ideally, I want to see that be able to rotate about 50 degrees up. We're going to test that on both sides. If it's limited below 50 degrees, then your thoracic extension will also be limited. Your overhead lifts, your neck and your low back will not be quite as good if your thoracic spine is limited. So that's your second thing to test out. And the final thing we're going to test from a mobility perspective is a lat flexibility. So the lats, huge muscle group in the back that come up into the shoulder. The lats are really gonna limit a lot of individuals' overhead mobility. So we're gonna test it out by sitting with our legs crossed, and we're gonna get our back either flat against a rig like I am right now, or flat against a wall. Maintain that flat back position. Grab a PVC pipe with about a shoulder width grip. Lock those elbows out, don't let them bend, and see if you can open your arms up fully to where you touch that PVC pipe to the rig or wall behind you without your lower back arching off the wall, without your elbows bending. That is a great way to test out your lat flexibility. Again, flexibility and mobility is important if you want to get into ideal positions and train through maximal range of motion, which is going to help most people, number 1, get stronger, number 2, build more muscle mass long term. As always, continue to stay tuned here at bodybuilding.com as we give you more tools, tips, and tactics to help you build your body.